I'll be right there. All right, all right, all right. Hello, party people. Good to have you here. I'm so excited to give this live cast to you today. I'll just begin right away with this question. If you could be successful or fulfilled, but you could only choose one, which would you choose? Would you want to be more successful, or would you want to be more fulfilled? Let me ask you again. If you could be as successful as your imagination can possibly dream of, or fulfilled to the maximum possible extent that you're able to be fulfilled, but you could only choose one, fulfillment or success, which would you choose? So many of us are just chasing after success when we haven't really figured out what it even means or looks like to us. Really think about it. Don't you spend more of your time looking at what your colleagues and other members of your family and maybe your friends have in their life, where they live, what kind of car they drive, what kind of status they have, who they're surrounded by, the activities that they do, that they're involved in, the hobbies that they pursue. And you look at them with a little bit of envy and wish that you could have their life, that you wish that you could have the happiness and the success that they seem to have. Only you haven't really spent time thinking about what matters to you and what success looks like to you, or what fulfillment looks like to you for that matter. You're comparing yourself to other people and what they have achieved, and spending a lot of time doing that. And that takes you away from building the kind of life and the success and the fulfillment that you deserve to have, that you are perfectly capable of achieving. And look, I've been there too, and I've learned some very hard lessons about what happens when I focus only on making more money or achieving more status or believing I deserve to be in that position, rather than the person that's there, and really worrying about how I'm going to achieve that next promotion or get that next raise or get that next status symbol, or get more responsibility, and believing that I will somehow be happy and fulfilled and successful if I can just do that, without taking the time and making the effort to get clear on what I desire from my life and what that means, what that looks like, so that I can then architect my life and build a plan to achieve the success that will help me also lead to fulfillment. And I'm going to talk about that with you today, because I don't do this anymore. I don't compare myself with the Joneses, and I don't try to outdo the Joneses. My entire focus is on my success, my fulfillment, by doing the things that I do in service to other people, by leveraging what I have learned throughout my military career about leadership and about what motivates people, but also about living with post-traumatic stress and learning that post-traumatic stress is not a life sentence. It doesn't relegate you to living a mediocre life. You can have an extraordinary life even if you're living with post-traumatic stress. So I'm continuously and constantly and consistently progressing in my life because of what I've learned and overcoming the barriers I'm going to talk to you about today. And they're mostly mindset to achieving more success and fulfillment in my life. And I want that for you too. And again, if you're like me and you've experienced trauma and you haven't healed it, the truth is that you can think of that as another barrier that can get in the way of achieving your goals, but they don't have to. I'm telling you, if you do that and you use it as a crutch, it's an excuse. It's not a valid reason not to live an extraordinary life. And I'm going to explain why here today. Look, before we dive in, I want to just pause a moment for a very brief community announcement. And those of you that have been following me are aware that I have been shepherding an Afghan interpreter and his family since April of last year. Just 2 months. I can't believe it'll be a year that I've been working with this family to protect them, to keep them alive and housed and food and fed while they're waiting to get out of the country. And listen, those of you that have generously contributed to maintaining this Afghan national and his family, I am grateful beyond words for your support and your continued support. For some of you, I cannot take care of this family by myself. And so the generosity and the empathy and the compassion that many of you have shown this family and me, for that fact, in volunteering your energy and your resources to helping this family who are in hiding from the Taliban. I just, words are insufficient to describe my gratitude. But this family's in hiding. They're in hiding because they fear for their lives. The Taliban is actively hunting for them, and he's not able to work because of that, and neither are his children, because his children will lead the Taliban back to him, and bad things will happen if they're caught. And so I am making a continuous appeal week after week until this family is safely out of Afghanistan and preparing for their next step in working with the State Department so they can gain their visas and immigrate legally to the U.S. I'm working with this family and staying with them, making sure that they get the resources they need to just survive until they're able to get out. Now, it costs $500 a month to feed and house this family of 9. $500 is not a lot for 9 people to keep them fully housed and fed and safe in a safe environment month after month. So I'm asking again, as I do every week, whatever you can offer helps them to survive another month. And as I said, it's $500 a month for this family to survive. And I have been working with an amazing organization called Project Dynamo. And Project Dynamo, I am not affiliated with them in any way, but they have resources and people that are available to get the help that this family needs right directly into their hands. And so I've been working with Project Dynamo since August of 2021, thereabouts, when the U.S. evacuated or withdrew from Afghanistan and the end of the war happened. I trust them implicitly. They have come through for me month over month. And those are the folks that I'm working with. And let me tell you how you can donate to this family. So here's a QR code. You can also just Google Project Dynamo on your browser, and it'll take you to their website. This link will take you to a specific page that they have set up to accept donations for Afghan nationals. And I'm calling this Afghan food relief because that is what this family needs: housing and food. That's it. They need a safe place to live, and they need food in their mouths until the State Department finally does their job and calls on them for their interview, where they will receive a decision on their visa to immigrate, and finally reach the United States, where they can start rebuilding their life. So again, just scan the QR code, and that's going to take you to the Project Dynamo webpage. They're a nonprofit dedicated to helping save our Afghan heroes that put their lives on the line for us. And this amazing family did exactly that for American troops for many, many years. It's directly responsible for saving lives, and he needs us now. So as a side note, your donation is tax deductible, and 100% of it will reach this family, but only if you remember to write food in the comment portion of the form that this QR code will take you to that website to make your donation. Just write food in the comment portion of the form, and that'll ensure that this family receives your donation. Again, to ensure 100% of your tax deductible donation goes directly to this family, just write food in the comment. And I can't thank you enough for your generosity and for your efforts to keep this family going. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to them to know that there are people from all over America and all over the world that are working to keep them going until they can arrive in freedom and start rebuilding their lives. All right, let's get on to the topic at hand. Do you want more success, or do you want more fulfillment? And if you could only have one of those, which one would you choose? Well, let's start to work through this a little bit and deconstruct this so that it means something to you, because success and fulfillment mean something different to everyone. But if I explained it put it in a specific context for you to understand and framed it properly, maybe you'll be able to answer that question for yourself a little bit easier. Let's start in a place that you might be familiar with. Everyone is familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Let me show it to you here. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You may have heard of it. A lot of people don't know exactly what it is, but they've heard of it. And we read this framework from the bottom up. You need the things on the bottom first before you can ever think about pursuing or meeting your needs for the layers above after that. So in the context of this graphic here, this framework, you have physiological needs that must be met first before you can think about anything else. You need food, water, shelter, clothing, and rest. And then when you have those, next you need safety. You need a job. You need to be in good health. You need to feel safe in your environment. You know, a lot of people don't feel safe at home or in their job or in their community, and that backs them up in life. It makes them stuck in life. So after that, but if you can meet that need for safety in those ways, next you need love and belonging. Okay, you need to feel a sense of connection to someone. You need to feel like you belong to some group, an entity that's bigger than you. That need for love and belonging is so strong in all of us. And a lot of people don't know that this is the next most important need we have after our basic physiological needs and our needs for safety are met. You need to feel a sense of connection to someone. You need to feel part of something bigger than you. You know, in the military, we talk a lot about camaraderie and teamwork. That happens in a corporate environment, but the family is so essential, and it's at the core of our need for our ability to meet our need for love and belonging. After love and belonging, you need esteem. This is all about building your confidence and your courage so you can take on harder things in life and boost your confidence and courage even more. And as you're developing your esteem, you know, when you make mistakes, instead of judging or criticizing yourself, learn to use those experiences as opportunities to grow and get better in life. And the more you do these things, the more you meet your need for esteem. And finally, at the top, we have a need to achieve things. We all have a need to realize our full potential. That is innate in every human being. So, as it relates to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, remember this, that no matter what's going on in your life, your job is to meet your needs first. And that's not being selfish. That's being appropriate. That's living in congruence with who you are. And even if you don't know who you are and you're progressing toward it, you're figuring it out, facing yourself first and meeting your needs first is job one, because you can't get into a fulfilling relationship with someone, a deep personal relationship with someone, or interact with people on a professional level, or have a circle of friends that feeds your need for love and connection until you meet your own needs first. So understand your needs and always ask yourself this question. Do it often. Do I understand my needs, and am I honoring them? You know, a lot of people forget they can't fully meet the higher needs until the ones beneath them get met. So get satisfied first. So you can't perform at your highest level and achieve success or be fulfilled, excuse me, if your basic needs for your physical survival and your safety and your need for love and belonging are met there. So these are your needs. They're Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but they're different from what you want more of in your life. And I can tell you what you want in your life, because every human being basically wants the same things. And let me show you this. And this is what we all want. I call these the 4 human desires, because once we satisfy our need for food, water, shelter, and safety, these are what everyone in the world wants more of. And, you know, some people might say, well, what about belonging? What about health? Or what about achievement? We can use a lot of different words to describe the same things, but this model, I believe, really helps me to think about it. And that's what I wanted to share with you. First, we all want a sense of aliveness. We all want to wake up in the morning feeling excited and exuberant and enthusiastic for the day. You know, seeking higher levels of aliveness is the cause for so many actions you take in your life. And it, you know, might be passion, it might be spiritual energy, it might be physical and mental fitness, but the truth is all those things we do each day is for our search for aliveness, to meet that desire for more aliveness. You must seek to feel free from frustration and pain and self-hatred. And the more alive you feel, the more excited you feel about each day that you live, the less of those more negative leaning emotions you'll feel that will direct your life as well. Next, we all need deep connections. We all have people that are important to us, and we all are important to someone else. Who needs you on your A game today? Who needs you to show up for them as your very best self? Those connections are essential, and we all want to deepen our connections with the most important people in our life, whether it's our significant other, our spouse, our parents, our siblings, our friends, our colleagues at work. You know, dissatisfaction in life usually has nothing to do with you, but it has to do with the quality of your relationship. So everyone wants to deepen their connections to a specific individual or small group of people, to feel that aliveness in their life, like they belong to something bigger than them, and that something that feeds them and makes them excited. Next is meaningful pursuits. You know, finding purpose and feeling more successful and fulfilled about the pursuit is what gives life so much more meaning. So this is about committing and pursuing your desires with real meaning. This is about pursuing something that makes you feel like you're making a difference in the world, that you're contributing something of value, that brings value to someone else or another group of people. That leads to that is a meaningful pursuit that leads you to feel more aliveness and more deeply connected to those that you serve and those that you work with, those that you live with. And finally, in the center there, we all want to grow. We all want to become a better version of ourselves. And if you're ever feeling unsuccessful or unfulfilled, usually it's because you're leaving growth to randomness. To grow in aliveness, to deepen your connections and pursue what gives you meaning and purpose. You need to understand that learning is a lifelong journey, and the more deliberate and focused we become on learning the things we need to learn to level up in our life, the more that it feeds these other human desires. So this is what everyone wants. We all want more of this, of these four things. So let's now look at success and fulfillment. And I'm going to break this down and talk about each one separately. Let's start with success. Now, success is achieving the results that we want or hope for. That's what success is in the dictionary. It's a very broad definition that means something different to each person. It could be success in love and relationships. It could be success in your mission, whatever your mission in life is, or your physical health, or your emotional health and well-being. It could be financial success. It could be success with your friendships, success in honoring and doing your hobbies. I love traveling, for example. Whenever I travel, it makes me feel like I'm successfully honoring what feeds me. It could be your spirit or your spiritual life or your family. All of us have our own ideas about what success looks like in each area of life that's important to us. But let me show you some examples of success, and let's see how many of these you can relate to. How many of these kind of resonate with you? For those of you that got a degree, did you feel successful when you got that degree? Maybe holding on to an important position. Maybe you lead a lot of people or have a mission with a big budget, or earning a great salary. And that differs from person to person what that number is, but we all have a number in our head that would make us feel like we're pretty darn successful if we could make that much money. And closely related to that is financial security. And this is something that's a success marker for a lot of people. Can they build their wealth over time to achieve a level of financial security? And so is getting promoted, or being famous, or being healthy. Fundamentally, if you worked on just about any kind of project in your career or even in your personal life, you know that it had a timeline, a budget, maybe some milestones, and at the end, you had to produce something. And if you did all that, you were successful, right? You got a pat on the back. Maybe you got a bonus in your pay. You got rewarded for it, or you just got some satisfaction out of it. But that was a successful project for you if you finished it on a successful note. But take a look at these, and when you look at these examples of success, what do you think they share in common? What do you see there that they all share in common with each other? Well, to me, the takeaway here is that success can be objectively measured. Certainly in my coaching business, I have ways of measuring progress of my clients. I know when they make breakthroughs. We talk about new discoveries they make in each session that we work together, and the progress they make in their life. In my previous life in the military, performing to a standard was ingrained into the core of our beings. We were expected to meet or exceed the standards that our leadership set for us in anything that we did, whether it was physical fitness or accomplishing a mission within our job. It was a way of life. So that's what success was. It was a way of life, and we all chased after it. And the success markers there were awards that we received, or promotions, or recognition of some kind. Sometimes our commander would just give us a long weekend as a reward for meeting or exceeding the standard and being successful at something. The military environment is a very competitive environment, as corporate environments are too. If you want to succeed and get ahead, there are certain things you have to do no matter what to be successful. So that sounds like it doesn't leave a lot of room for fulfillment. But what about fulfillment? Because being in the military isn't about fulfillment unless it's about fulfilling a commitment that we made or an oath that we took. But that's not really necessarily the kind of fulfillment that we're talking about here. Let me show you what fulfillment is to me. See if this resonates with you. It's about having a feeling of satisfaction and contentment when you know you're giving 100% to something that feels aligned with your purpose and you're moving toward achieving your deepest desires. Not just that, you're optimistic and even excited about the future. You see the difference there between fulfillment and success? Because whether you work for a private company or the military, they set the conditions and create the culture and environment to be successful. Whether it fulfills you or not is something they're not really concerned about. They just want you to do your job. Kind of shut up and color, get in the sandbox and play, right? Not much room left there for any discussion about whether this is fulfilling. But what does it mean to live fulfilled? Well, I define fulfilled living as it's an ongoing feeling of happiness, engagement with the world around me, and confidence built on a foundation of achieving satisfaction and contentment in the things that I do that comes from consistently living from my best self. And it takes time and effort to achieve this, but to me, this is what fulfilled living means. And fulfillment is really subjectively measurable depending on what matters most to you. You see the difference between success and fulfillment? Success is easily measured, but fulfillment is subjectively measurable based on what matters most to you. What are your values? What are your deepest desires? What do you care about? What's a cause worth fighting for that gives you a sense of purpose and aliveness and allows you to create connections and grow into becoming more in that environment? See the difference? It's based more on a feeling rather than a straight objective measurement that everyone would be able to decide success or failure around. And I believe that's why fulfillment really takes a back seat to success in our society. It's because feelings are involved here, and society in general gets kind of uncomfortable when we talk about squishy things, when we talk about things that are squishy, like our feelings, whether or our fulfillment in something. And that's why so many of us abandon fulfillment and chase after success instead. We think that is where happiness is waiting for us. But instead, we're leaving fulfillment behind. We're not considering the benefits that fulfillment can give to us. But here's the thing about that. There are lots of successful people in the world who are absolutely miserable. They have the money in the bank. They have the $1 million home and drive the best cars. Maybe they have several cars in the garage. They even hang out together at the swankiest places, and they're not happy. Well, it's because they're not fulfilled. They achieve success. They achieve material successes. And when we see them, It looks like they have a lot, they're happy because of that, but it didn't fulfill something that's central to who they are. So they're miserable. And if you're dealing with unhealed trauma, you know what I mean here too, because success is often elusive to people who are living with unhealed trauma. For many, their relationships are stressed. They might struggle in their careers with interactions with their colleagues and their bosses. And they certainly are struggling with their health and well being. Just imagine showing up wounded every day for the people who love you and the people who you work with and are counting on you. It's a downward spiral when you're not paying attention to healing your trauma that makes success, the kind of success that you're capable of, harder to achieve. And it really kind of feels like fulfillment. It puts fulfillment out of reach. But it doesn't have to be that way. I know because I lived with it and found a way to a life that with more fulfillment than I ever thought possible. I just wanted to share with you that for 57 years, I didn't know trauma was controlling my life. But when I finally got the diagnosis that I had been living with complex PTSD throughout my military career, that was a gift and a second chance that I could never have dreamt of would be given to me. And when I got the diagnosis, I ran toward it. I didn't run away from it, as a lot of people do, because they fear it. I ran toward it. I learned everything I could about trauma. I got into trauma treatment and personal development with my amazing wife, Marcella, and that changed my life. And I can't emphasize enough the importance of family members supporting their family members that are living with that unhealed trauma. Marcella's been a support to me that has been a life changer for me, and I could not have done this without her. And it motivates me and inspires me to do this work that I'm doing now to serve my tribe, my people, and bring what I have learned to them, because I thought if this could change my life, it could change anybody's life. And in all my studying about trauma and success and fulfillment and my desire to create a better quality of life, I found the answer to the question I asked at the beginning of this video and created a solution that I really am excited to share with you. And I call it, let me show it to you here. I call it the fulfillment formula. Because if I had to choose between success and fulfillment, it's fulfillment every day of the week and twice on Sunday. So let me tell you what it is. This is a 4-step personal development program that I've developed for achieving an extraordinary quality of life. I developed it for other veterans and their family members to really provide a pathway that leads them to higher levels of satisfaction in 4 areas in their life: in their relationships, in their mission or purpose, in their health and wellness, and in their continuous growth. And it's such a flexible program that it is even adaptable to the corporate environment to help develop leaders and stronger teams and promote a safer, more resilient and cohesive working environment in any organization. Because I'm convinced that trauma, unhealed trauma, exists in the workplace. And if leaders and employees are not trained on what trauma is and how to spot it, 99 times out of 100, they will react in a way that makes a situation more difficult when they're dealing with somebody that is living with unresolved trauma. That's a whole topic for a different video, which I'm absolutely going to be talking a lot more about. But let me walk you through each of the steps of this. There are 4 of them, and I believe this is going to move you to higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction. So it all starts with this idea. If you want to be fulfilled, you have to believe you can be. So it's crucial that you have a strong, vibrant growth mindset. Now, a growth mindset is the belief that we can develop our knowledge, our skills, and abilities over time through effort, through learning and persistence. Having a growth mindset enables us to embrace new opportunities, overcome challenges much faster, learn from our failures, and evolve into a better version of ourselves. And we teach you how to do that in this program. And if you already have a growth mindset, you learn to make it even better. I love what Tony Robbins says here. If you aren't growing, you're dying. Absolutely agree with that. And if you want to grow, you must have a growth mindset. Then, if you want to be fulfilled, we must be willing to learn from the past and then release the energy that keeps us stuck there. So why is that? Well, it's because as human beings, we invest a lot of our time and energy in regretting the past or feeling guilty about the past or worrying about the future. And in the fulfillment formula, we discover what happens when we invest too much of our time and energy resenting the past or worrying about what's coming. And the solution here that we teach is about being more present, because that's where we create our future, is mastering one of our untapped superpowers. And I believe it is self-forgiveness. And in this step in the fulfillment formula, I teach the 5 stages of radical forgiveness. And this is an advanced form of forgiveness. This is not something you learned about in Sunday school, I guarantee you. But this is a life-changing process of forgiveness where you learn to identify your core limiting beliefs and replace them with something that is more congruent and aligned with who you are and relevant for where you are at this stage of your life. Next, once you free up all that energy you've been investing and holding on to the past, if you want to be fulfilled, you must be ready to see yourself there. And the way we achieve that is to do another self-assessment to get even clearer on your deepest desires. I shared the 4 human desires with you earlier: aliveness, deeper connections, meaningful pursuits, and growth. We do an intense exercise in this course, in this program, where we get very, very clear on what our desires are. Our home, the car we drive, and the clothes we wear were thoughts in someone else's mind before they became reality. So we create our life the same way. The thoughts we're thinking today, the thoughts you're thinking right now, they're creating your future. So the fulfillment formula teaches you how to gain clarity on your deepest desires and then set up routines and create the outcomes that move you to the future you want to have. Is it a vibrant relationship? Is it a more satisfying career? Maybe better health? Creating a new future begins in our thoughts. And in this step in the program, we really dive deep on that. And finally, once you're clear on what you desire, if you really want to be fulfilled every day, you've got to be willing to develop the high performance habits that take you there, that take you to your deepest desires. So again, you want a better relationship? You want a raise or promotion? You want to achieve more in your life? Well, achieving more requires learning new skills and developing new routines, because the habits and skills that got you this far in your life cannot take you to the next higher level. So in the fulfillment formula, we teach you the 6 high-performance habits we've got to master to turn our vision of the life we dream of into reality. And these are research and science-backed skills that lead to higher levels of happiness, joy, and engagement in the most important part of your life. These are essential habits and skills you've got to learn to not only envision your future, but to create it, to make it a reality, and to have it and revel in it. Because again, you can't go to the next level of your life with the habits and skills that got you this far. You just can't. You deserve so much more. And that's what I want for you this year. So that is the fulfillment formula. Here is the framework for it again. We adopt a growth mindset, and I have exercises, and we do breakout sessions to help you identify where your mindset might need some adjusting, some tweaking, some improvement, and we work together to create those improvements. You've got to be willing to get curious about your triggers and how they got there. Uh, and that is part of growth. That means learning the language of your body so you can respond appropriately. And that's good. That's helpful. When we do that in a group, we learn about each other, we support each other, and we support each other's growth. Next, we get into we look at making peace with the past, and we do that through a process of radical self-forgiveness, where we think of where we were victimized in our life. We take that story apart to discover our core limiting beliefs, and we replace those beliefs with something that is more congruent with who you are now, so that you can raise your game to the next level. Next, we envision a new future. What is your deepest desire? What does that look like? What does it feel like? And what are the actions you must take to start moving your life in that direction? And finally, leveling up with 6 science and research backed high performance habits that you must learn and implement in your life if you are to make the vision of the future you want to have, a reality in the present moment. It's so exciting to have found this formula that has worked wonders in my life and changed my life for the better in so many ways. If you don't believe me, ask my wife, Marcella, and she'll tell you all about it. And she'd be happy to too. Now, I told you I had a special announcement to share with you, so here it is. Now, I'm rolling out the very first group coaching experience of the Fulfillment Formula, and I'm inviting you in. But to get into this program, you just need to have a discussion with me first. So I'm looking for the highest performers who want to be, know, and achieve even more this year. If you want to make this year the best year of your life, and I know that you can do that, if you're ready to commit, if you're ready to summon the best of who you are every day this year to create your best year, the best year of your life, I'm ready to commit to you. And the Fulfillment Formula is your ticket to sustained levels of growth and higher living, success and joy and fulfillment. So I would invite you, just scan the QR code or go to my website and book a call with me. Let's just have a conversation. Let's talk about how the Fulfillment Formula can help you raise your game this year, how you can learn to show up better for the people who are important to you and deepen your connections with them. Let's talk about what gives your life meaning and purpose and what you can do to align yourself even more with that. I'll answer all your questions. It's a very informal conversation. There are no commitments, no obligations. And if it's a fit, I'll invite you to join us, and you'll be part of a special group of people that are going to be the first to receive the entire program in this year, and grow this program. And you'll get my support for the rest of the year. It's a huge commitment I'm willing to make to my people, but it will be absolutely worth it because you will experience more growth and success this year than ever before, and you will feel more fulfilled than you have too. This idea of combining success and fulfillment, nobody talks about this, but remember, if you only focus on your success, that is not a guarantee of happiness. Having more money, having more things, having more power, having more status is not a guarantee of your happiness, of finding satisfaction and contentment with the achievements that you're making in your life. You've got to do the things that develop your fulfillment, that make you aware of what makes you fulfilled and then empowers you to chase after that, to pursue that, because that is where the meaning in your life exists. So this year, I challenge you to commit to inviting more fulfillment in your life. The fulfillment formula is your ticket to creating an extraordinary quality of life. And I can't wait to discuss it with you. So again, go to my website or scan the QR code and let's talk about how we can make this year the very best year of your life together with the fulfillment formula. I hope this time together has served you, and I can't wait to see you, to talk with you. I wish you a wonderful week ahead, and I just challenge you to live fully, love with all of your heart, and lead others to create your best life. You deserve it, and so do they. Here's to your greatness. Aloha.